What is going on, everybody? What is going on, the Catch fam? My name is Jon Dawson, and in today's video, we are hopping into another 2022 fantasy football mock draft. Got a request for a 6-team full PPR mock at the 1.1 overall selection. So got a couple of our loyal members here at the Catch fam to hop into this mock with me. We are going to get this thing kicked off. So if you guys do enjoy today's video, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Of course, if you are new to the channel, if you guys have any mock draft requests, please feel free to drop those in the comment sections down below, and I will get that put on the schedule. And without further ado, let's hop into another 2022 fantasy football mock draft. All right, so sitting at 1.1 overall, you're going to take JT, you're going to take Christian McCaffrey. I mean, in any of these 6-team mocks, you are certainly looking for positional advantage throughout the entire mock. So there's somewhat of an argument to be made to go maybe Cup or JJ at 1.1. But overall, it's JT or CMC, in my opinion. Go with a running back at 1.1. Let's just go with JT for the sake of today's mock, but you could certainly argue for CMC there as well. Now, as you start to approach the rest of these rounds, like I said, positional advantage is just going to be so incredibly big throughout the draft. So I want to target a tight end early, even if they are not necessarily at the top of the rankings. I want a tight end at this next turn, whether it's Travis Kelce or Mark Andrews. Outside of that, I'm just going with the best available running back or receiver. If there is a running back sitting around like Derrick Henry at 2.6, who I don't feel like I can pass up, I'm going with Henry at 2.6. If there's a receiver like a Jamar Chase or a Devontae Adams sitting there at 2.6 that I don't feel like I can pass up, then I'm going with running back there. One thing to keep in mind, in a 6-team draft, you are going to have plenty of depth at receiver, more than any other position. That does not mean that you necessarily want to fade receiver, because you do want that high positional value. So Spencer goes with Travis Kelce here. I'm not surprised. Like I said, I still want that high value tight end, so give me Mark Andrews. Going to make a big difference down the stretch. Let's take Devontae Adams as our wide receiver 1. And with larger leagues, 10, 12 team leagues, I like to come out of my first 3 or 4 rounds with a little bit more consistency in terms of going RB receiver, really just having 2 running backs, 2 receivers. But in a 6 or 8 team league, like, I am perfectly fine starting the first 3 rounds with 1 running back, 1 tight end, 1 receiver, because we're just going for that positional value, and then we'll start to fill out this roster as things go on. So speaking of positional value, right, quarterback is the one position I think you can take a little bit of a fade at, right? Like, there's going to come a point in your draft, if Josh Allen or Justin Herbert are sitting there, then you're not going to pass them up, right? But I think you can hold off a bit and still land a Jalen Hurts, still land a Kyler Murray, a Joe Burrow in later rounds, and still come out of your draft with a lot of good value at the position. So I want that strong positional value at tight end, receiver, and running back early and often. But I think quarterback, you can take a little bit of a breather. I wouldn't even think about the quarterback position until someone else starts to select a quarterback and make that run. And that probably means you're going to miss out on Josh Allen, but I think it'll be just okay. Now, if you get into the 6th or 7th round or whatever it may be, and Josh Allen has not been selected, then maybe you can think about it. But I really like going for a little bit of later value. Guys like Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, Burrow, if you miss out on them, well, at the end of the day, there's only 6 teams. More than likely, each team is just taking 1 QB overall. All right, so sitting here at 4.6, we do have our first quarterback off the board in Josh Allen. So now, just looking at things, I mean, running back has got ate up pretty intensely throughout this draft. We'll go ahead and we'll take a receiver in Tyreek Hill here, add to some of that upside, add to some of that ceiling. And then just looking at things, we really just want to go with the best available running back, whether it's Nick Chubb, Javonte Williams, Lenny Fournette, Zeke, Connor. I mean, you could really have your pick here. If we did go in a different round, probably be with a second receiver, whether it's Mike Evans, AJ Brown, whatever it may be. But I would like to go with a second running back here. And for the sake of today's mock, let's just go with Javonte Williams and move right along. So I like the fact that I'm drafting with actual subscribers, because it gives you a better idea of maybe where people will go overall in your actual draft. When I do these through Sleeper, because I don't have another platform to run a 6-team mock on, and I just use a computer, I just feel like it's just taking the top player in terms of ADP, where drafting with actual subscribers is going to make this a little bit more interesting. I mean, we see a lot of running backs taken. We've already seen a quarterback taken, and then we've seen a tight end taken in the second, where really I would like to come out of this draft with Travis Kelce on my team. So regardless, I would say in a lot of drafts, you might not be looking at Javonte Williams as your RB2. You might be able to land a Barkley or Kamara or even an Aaron Jones if you were doing one of these mock drafts with just the computer. So nonetheless, we'll move into the 6th round here. Looking at things overall, we've got 2 quarterbacks off the board, 4 tight ends are gone. And really for us at this point, I'm still going to continue to fade quarterback, but we want to start to look for some good value at running back and just continue to select running backs and receivers. Really for me, once I've solidified the tight end position, I'm just going to load up at running back and receiver and wait for the right quarterback to fall to myself. So really what we're doing here is we're just looking for the best positional value at running back and receiver throughout the whole draft. So there's a lot of good players to choose from here. Zeke, Cam Akers, Monty, Breece Hall, ETN. So really when you look at things, there's enough running backs that I like here. Let's take a chance on it's either Breece Hall or ETN. Let's go with Breece Hall for the sake of today's mock draft. Then looking at receiver, I like T. Higgins, I like Scary Terry, I like Johnson, I like Waddle, but we'll go with T. Higgins, go for some upside with that Bengals offense as a whole. So, I'm not in love with Javonte or Breece Hall in a 6-team league. Like, I would like to see a little bit more potential upside, but the fact that we've got JT as our RB1, I think kind of helps solidify this roster as a whole. I think the receivers still look great, and I think we've got a bona fide tight end one, so I still think we're in a good spot overall here. Moving into the 7th, so we took T. Higgins, Zeke is off the board, Lamar Jackson is gone, Scary Terry is gone, and now DJ Moore is gone. We've got one more selection, which is Jalen Waddle, and into the 8th round we will go. So I just want to keep an eye at quarterback. We're kind of moving into that spot, right? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 teams with a QB, so I still think we can kind of fade quarterback and still land a Burrow, Kyler Murray, or Jalen Hurts. So I think we're perfectly fine at QB overall. I think we definitely need to continue to get running back help on this team, and why not just continue to load up at receiver. So this is really the type of strategy I like to take in a 6-team mock. I'll be really happy if we can land. Okay, there goes Travis Etienne. I was going to say, if Etienne falls here, I'm going to be super happy, but he is gone. So once again, just looking at the board, take the best available receiver, the best available running back, and we're really just moving there. So Jerry Jeudy, Courtland Sutton, I like the upside involved with either of these Denver receivers, so let's go with Courtland Sutton. And I think we've got a chance to fade running back this round. I think receiver is going to be the better position to go with here, and then we'll just double up at running back in the following round. So Jeudy, we're not going to go Jeudy because we've already got Courtland Sutton. So Hollywood Brown or Allen Robinson are probably my selections here. I think you could certainly argue for either player. We'll go with Allen Robinson. Why not? We'll go with the Rams offense, take a little bit of potential upside there, and then we'll move into the next round here. And really to finish things out, we're just going to take our quarterback and probably 2 running backs unless receiver just shows better value as a whole. But so when you're doing this type of strategy, which I was just about to kind of unpack there, right, we're going to get the best available running back or receiver in the first round. If you're drafting from 1.1, undoubtedly it's going to be running back. Then you just want to get a tight end at the turn. It doesn't matter if it's at the end of the second or the start of the third, right? And then once you've got your RB1, wide receiver 1, and tight end 1, for the rest of the draft, just switch between running back and receiver and let a quarterback fall to you. I really think in a 6-team draft, that is exactly how I would play things. But if you come into a round like we did here, end of the 8th into the 9th, and I just thought there was better value at receiver available, then go ahead and go with 2 receivers and then potentially 2 running backs here. But Jalen Hurts just got selected, which makes the quarterback room a little bit thinner. So let's take Joe Burrow. Let's go ahead and lock up our QB1, and then let's take A.J. Dillon as our RB4. I'm perfectly happy with that selection. And then in the 12th round, we'll probably just take another running back, and we'll call this thing a day. I mean, obviously, we're going to pick a kicker and defense as well. So really, when we continue to look at quarterback here, Kyler Murray's still floating around. I would imagine that he's going to go to this team right here. But then even once Murray's gone, Wilson, Brady, Prescott, Rodgers, Stafford, Trey Lance are all available. So another interesting pick for this team. I mean, I think we're fine at receiver. Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, T. Higgins, Cortland Sutton, Allen Robinson. There's always going to be a receiver, especially in a 6-team league, worth drafting. We got Burrow at quarterback, Andrews at tight end. So if Trey Lance falls out to the 12th round, I actually think Trey Lance would be a really good selection for this team. So looking at this final roster spot, right? I like Trey Lance. There's always going to be a receiver you could argue taking, whether it's Gabe Davis, Darnell Mooney, Devonta Smith, Hunter Renfrow, Elijah Moore. There's all kinds of good names floating around at the receiver position. We could go for some more running back depth, even if Antonio Gibson falls out here. I don't mind Elijah Mitchell at this point in the draft. You could go with some rookie upside like a James Cook or even a Tyler Algier. Take a chance on one of Seattle's running backs. So there are plenty of possible running backs to take here. I don't think we need a second tight end. But if we wanted someone behind Mark Andrews, I mean, one of the reasons we went out and got Mark Andrews early is to not worry about, the position for the rest of the year. But Dallas Goedert or Dawson Knox would be my guys in terms of some upside there. So plenty of ways we could spin this final draft selection. But I think Trey Lance would be relatively interesting here. I mean, we got 5 receivers, 4 running backs, a tight end, and a QB. So realistically, I'd like to come out with one more running back. But I don't know. I mean, he could end this draft and still go out and secure one of these running backs on the waiver wire as well. So plenty of receivers sitting around that I like here. I mean, Devonta Smith, Rashad Bateman, Elijah Moore. I mean, plenty of ways we could spend this final pick, but let's go with another quarterback. Let's go with some upside in Trey Lance. And then let's just take the best defense off the board, in my opinion, go with the Buffalo Bills. And then with the final selection of tonight's mock, we will go with a kicker, and that'll put another mock draft in the books. All right, moving into the end of the 14th here, we see the Chargers defense, Daniel Carlson, and Dallas Goedert off of the board. So really, we're just going to go with the best available kicker. I mean, you could argue in terms of positional advantage that would have been smarter to go Justin Tucker at 13.1. Looking at the defenses available, I'd be really happy with the Saints, Cowboys, or the Colts, and even the Ravens or Niners for that matter. So could definitely argue that going kicker at 13.1, grabbing up Justin Tucker would have been a better move, but I'm fine with the Buffalo Bills defense. We still can get Matt Gay, Tyler Bass, Harrison Butker, all kinds of kickers here at the end of the draft. So we'll go with Matt Gay, and that'll put this thing in the book. So if I look at the roster, we've got JT, Javonte, Breece Hall, and A.J. Dillon at running back. I mean, even with JT leading this squad at the position, I will definitely say running back is the weakest part of this team. But Burrow and Lance at QB is great. Mark Andrews at tight end, obviously you're going to be completely fine. Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, T. Higgins, Cortland Sutton, Allen Robinson, a nice ceiling at the wide receiver position on this team. I think this is a perfectly fine roster, the Bills defense and Matt Gay. And I think this is a little bit of a better representation than some of the other 6-team mocks I've done in the past, just in terms of real, actual subscribers mocking with me tonight versus just using the computer. So you can take a look at this draft board. I think it's a little bit more realistic than some of the other 6-team mocks you might see out there. And that'll do it for today's video, man. If you guys did enjoy today's content, be sure to hit that like button on the way out. Hit that subscribe button, of course, if you are new to the channel. And if you guys have any mock draft requests, please feel free to drop those in the comments down below. And feel free to drop any comments, questions, concerns pertaining to the 2022 fantasy football season down below. That'll do it for the video. With that, I'll say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on The Catch.